Have you ever looked at the title of a scientific paper and felt like you needed a secret decoder ring just to get past the first line? Yeah, me too. Well, today we're going to tackle one of those jargon-filled monsters from the world of AI.
And here it is in all its glory. LeWorldModel, stable end-to-end joint-embedding predictive architecture from pixels. Wow. I mean, that is just a wall of academic jargon, right? But believe it or not, hidden inside that word salad is a really, really cool idea. So, what does any of this actually mean? All right, let's dive in. Our mission for the next few minutes is to crack this code together. We're going to go piece by piece until this whole thing makes perfect sense. Okay, first things first, we've got to start with the biggest piece of the puzzle, and it's right there in the name, world model. Seriously, this is the core idea of the whole paper.
So what is a world model? Well, put simply, it's like an internal simulation, a little universe that the AI builds for itself. It actually learns the rules of its environment. You know, things like gravity, how a ball bounces, all by itself, just by watching. Honestly, the best way to wrap your head around it is to think of it as the AI's imagination. Yeah, its own private little sandbox where it can practice, make predictions, and run a million different experiments without ever having to touch the real world. This is what makes its learning so incredibly fast and efficient.
Okay, so the AI's got this super cool imagination, but what's the point? What does it do with it? Well, that brings us to the very next word in that crazy title, predictive. See, the whole reason for building this world model is to predict stuff. This system isn't just sitting back and watching the world go by. Nope. It's actively trying to forecast what's going to happen next. It's basically an architecture designed for making really, really smart guesses over and over again. And the way it learns is actually pretty straightforward, but it's super powerful. It's a loop. First, the AI sees what's happening right now. Then, it dives into its little world model to guess what's going to happen next. And then, this is the most important part. It compares its guess to what actually happens. Every time it's wrong, even by a little bit, it uses that mistake to make its world model better. It gets smarter with every single guess.
All right, this is all starting to build, right? We have the AI's imagination, and we know its goal is to predict things. But how do those two parts actually talk to each other? How does what it sees connect to what it imagines? Well, that's where probably the scariest sounding term comes in, joint embedding. Think of it as the glue that holds everything together. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but don't worry. All joint embedding really is a kind of universal translator that the AI makes for itself. It takes totally different kinds of information, like a picture it's looking at and a future it's imagining, and it translates them both into the same shared mathematical language. It's literally like the AI's own personal Rosetta Stone. You know how that stone let us finally translate between different ancient languages? Well, joint embedding does the same thing inside the AI. It lets the AI understand the connection between what it sees and what it predicts, because they're suddenly speaking the same language. It's what makes the whole system click. We are so close. We just have two last little phrases to figure out, and these basically tell us how the AI gets its information and how the whole system is built. From pixels is maybe the easiest one. It just means the AI learns by watching raw video. That's it. It's just looking at the pixels on a screen, no humans needed to tell it, that's a car or that's a tree. And then end-to-end, that just means the whole thing is one big connected system. The learning flows all the way from the first pixel it sees to the final prediction it makes, all in one go. It's a complete self-contained learning machine. Okay, we've done it. We've broken down all the scary-sounding parts. Now for the fun part. Let's put it all back together and see the really beautiful idea that was hiding behind that wall of jargon the whole time. So let's just do a super quick recap. World model, that's the AI's imagination. Predictive, that means it's trying to guess what happens next. Joint embedding, that's its universal translator. And from pixels, it just learns by watching videos. See, when you break it down, it's not so intimidating after all. And there it is, that ridiculously long, complicated title. It really just means this. This AI learns to predict the future of a world it's watching by building its own internal imagination of how that world works. That's it. It's actually a pretty simple and powerful idea. But, you know, this leaves us with a really big question to chew on. If an AI can learn the fundamental rules of our world just by watching it, what are the limits? What could it start to predict? I mean, think about truly complex things like the weather or the stock market. What might an AI like this see that we just can't?